To fight poverty, we must define it and be able to measure it. Poverty is multidimensional. Its harsh reality varies from one nation to another. So how do we measure poverty? We begin by creating a measure of well-being. This shows us the differences in the quality of life across an entire population. Well-being comes from many different things: how much we earn, where we live, what we eat, how much we eat, the things we acquire and use every day, whether we go to school or not, or see a doctor when we are sick. All of these contribute to the quality of life. Consumption and income are two broad categories that do not show all of the dimensions of poverty, but are useful as indicators of well-being. To collect this data, a country will survey many different segments of the population. From the collected data, a range of consumption and income can be created. People with the highest well-being are shown to the far right. They enjoy many goods and services in a wide variety of forms. Those with the lowest well-being are shown to the far left. They have access to limited goods and services. To compare this data, monetary values are usually assigned. There is a point at which the level of income and consumption becomes insufficient to support a good quality of life. Researchers use statistical methods to define that point, which is called the poverty line. The poverty line divides the poor from the non-poor. People in poverty are those whose level of income or consumption is not enough to cover a minimum amount of goods and services. There is also a point that represents the minimum food consumption that can sustain life. That is the extreme poverty line. These points will differ from one country to the next because the circumstances change from country to country. But the process of measuring poverty is consistent. How do we measure how many people live in poverty? When we plot out the population of a country, we see how many people live in poverty and what percentage they represent of the country's entire population. This data reminds us how much work there is to do in fighting poverty, and it actually helps us organize that fight. With this information, we can calculate how many people live below the poverty line. We can start seeing where help is needed most, who needs it, and what types of programs could be effective. We can accurately measure our progress and, more importantly, adjust our plans to empower people so that they can increase income, improve their well-being, and move above the poverty line. So these are not just numbers. They are critical tools in the fight against poverty. That's how we measure poverty and why. Learn more.